But Daniel Brinkley, Nancy Ryan's, all these people, very classic after-death experiences. They can't wear wristwatch anymore, batteries. They always break cell phones. Phones are always crashing on them. They don't work. Computers crash. All kinds of electronics crash. Has some of you had a death experience? Okay. Because if you have, this is very familiar with you. You are in great, good company. There are organizations that have studied death experiencers, and there's at least 13 common after effects of the death. And they have returned here to help and educate us, to help us remember who we are and where we came from. Mostly, they want us to love ourselves. Above all else, love ourselves. Interesting, huh? Yeah, they don't talk about other things. All right, Susan Noeski. And by the way, I've included their contact information, so if you do want to contact them and chat with them, you're free to do that. Nancy's website is here, and I had Kevin's. Anyway, so Susan died in the hospital. Now, I like to use examples where they actually have medical records in the hospital. That in their medical records, it says they died. Okay, so these are like medical professionals, so we can't say this is just a bunch of nonsense. She died in the hospital. She bled out during childbirth. And she talks about going not all the way to heaven, but this close to heaven. She couldn't step over a line, actually a line that was on her right side when she was in this other place. And with all these death experiencers, they don't want to return here to the flesh body. No, they don't want to return to their children or their husband or their family members. They don't want to come back here, you guys, because when you die, you are plugged in to the universal intelligence. You know everything again. Any question you have is answered. And you don't have to leave until it is answered. Because I've heard those death experiencers tell their story too. Every question you have is answered. So you know that your children will be okay, your husband will be okay, the job, everything will be okay. Although you are also shown if it won't be okay. And that's where you may be given the decision to either stay there in heaven or return to your life. Other people are not given that choice. And other people make the choice to return very reluctantly. Some kicking and screaming. Most do kick and scream to return because they know that their child, they have to be there to raise their child. If not, they can see what will happen, how it will ripple through the entire community if they don't return and finish what they came there to do, such as raise a child or raise their children or continue with a marriage. It's quite amazing. So anyway, she is in heaven and she meets Gabe. Gabe is on a wagon. You know, the wagon with two horses pulling it. He's there on the wagon. And everything is spotless and bright and clean. And she has a nice chat with him. And she doesn't want to return to her physical body. She just gave birth. She has an infant. She doesn't care. This is how it is. And that's how when a lot of people return from their death, they really feel terrible guilt. Because what kind of mother am I not to want to return and raise my new infant son or daughter? I mean, it can be horrible for a woman or any person. But she did choose to return. She's also very, very highly psychic. She spoke at our conference this last year. She's also spoken at one-on-one at Paranormal Talks at one of our monthly meetings. See, this is very educational, but they bring back amazing information about our world and about how to really live life. When you die, you really understand how to live life. And these people, they have a hard time when they return. They really, I mean, it's quite an adjustment because they really don't want to be here. They're doing it because they're fulfilling a duty that they signed up for, as each one of us do. None of us are here by accident, even though our mother may have said, oh, you know, you were a mistake. No. Each one of us signed up for this, for that family, for those parents. And as Edgar Casey says, if something does change in the household where it doesn't fulfill our life purpose that we signed up for it and we signed the contract. No one else forced us to do it. We do die. That's what SIDS are about, sudden infant deaths. Something changed in that family dynamic, and that soul entity said, oh, this isn't, no, this will not work for me. I signed up for this, and this person or that person left. No, the contract is broken, and they're out of there. So when you understand these things on the other dimensional levels, it helps us live this life much more easily. So it does take education, and I don't know where you're going to get this education. You're not going to learn it in our state schools, are you? No. I mean, you have to come here to learn this. Debbie Solaris. Now, Debbie Solaris, have you heard her speak? Okay.
I've had a reading from her.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Debbie Solaris. Debbie Solaris is an ET abductee. Now, I had Debbie Solaris speak at Paranormal Talks alongside Susan Noeski because I wanted to show people, I wanted people to hear how they used the same words with an abduction, which was asked for, Debbie asked for it, and a death. Neither one of them wanted to return to this physical life. She wanted to stay on the spaceship. She wanted to stay in heaven. She wanted to stay with the beautiful Palladian ETs. She wanted to stay with the beautiful angels. She was totally accepted and loved on that spaceship with all the various ETs. Susan was absolutely accepted and loved in heaven. Same words, same experience. Spaceship, heaven. She asked for it. Susan did not. Debbie is also here, and I'm giving you names of people who are here locally in Denver. They're not celebrities, but they are as excellent as Travis Walton or some of these other celebrities who've had death experiences and ET abductions and out-of-body experiences. So Debbie Solaris, she was very depressed, and this world was just really getting her down. And she really just made a really sincere prayer up to heaven and said, man, help me get out of this, help me understand. And that night, she was abducted onto a spaceship. Whatever works. She's not like a fundamentalist Christian or a Christian or religious kind of person, so a spaceship will do very nicely, thank you. And it felt and looked the same. She did not want to leave that spaceship. She discovered how awesome and amazing our consciousness is in taking us through life and having things show up for us that we need and want in life, our consciousness. That's what Debbie really got when she was on that ship. And that's how she got around the ship, is with her consciousness. Not by walking or walking upstairs, none of that kind of stuff. She met so many different ETs, and she has access to the Akashic records. You know, the library in the universe? In that Akashic record library, that's where the book on our souls are found. And Edgar Casey talked about the Akashic records, that library in the sky. He gets the name of a person, he's given the book of that person's soul, and every life that you ever had is in that book. That's what Debbie has access to. By the way, all of us would also have access to it. Edgar Casey said all of us could develop that ability, and Debbie says we can too. But if you want to take the shortcut, you can simply have a session with Debbie. Now, she returned from the spaceship or the dead, whichever. She is highly, highly psychic. That's why she can access the Akashic records for you. She can tell you what planets you've been on before, what other alien bodies you have inhabited before. It's all right there. These are the kinds of speakers we have at Paranormal Talks. The last death experiencer, Rex Finskill. Rex liked to work out. Rex liked to climb 30 and 40-foot trees as part of his workout. The branch broke. He was 3 stories up. He fell 3 stories to his death. He landed on his head first on concrete. It killed him. There happened to be a couple of ladies in the park who saw him fall and called 911. The ambulance came, took him away. He returned from the dead in the hospital. When he was dead, he talks about the massive, huge, infinite, universal intelligence. He said that's what impressed him most of all. And there are many death experiencers who are given mathematical formulas, and they're shown these matrices, all of this quantum mechanics and physics they're shown. Not that they can bring it back with them when they return into their body or understand it, but this massive amount of mathematical equations of the universe he was shown blew him away. But that's mostly what impressed him. The love, yes, but how the universe is built and works, that's what he got. So he was in the hospital for a couple of months. He broke about 20 bones, including fractured his skull. He still has some thinking brain that he's coming around to. Like I said, it's tough to return from the dead. It's a whole new life that you are creating. And he did write a book, his experiment with gravity. If you really want to understand the death experience, what it is and how it impacts you and what is beyond you and around you, to understand that the paranormal is normal, that the supernatural is natural. Books like this, and we have a few left at the booth there, 267, for your poolside reading pleasure. Educate yourself. That's what these death experiences came back here to do, is to educate us, to enlighten us, to awaken us. That's the only way it's going to happen. No one can really spoon feed it to you or inject it into you. We really have to read it and look at it ourselves. Let me show you some of the flyers. These are also at the booth, 267. We meet the second Sunday of each month. We have amazing speakers. I'll be speaking next month on numerology. It's a metaphysical tool to help you navigate more successfully through life. That's what it's for. Astrology, numerology, tarot, all of these are ancient metaphysical tools that are here only to help us. So that's what Paranormal Talks wants to do for you. And then Sereno Baptista, she speaks for the dead. Our loved ones, it's always nice to hear from them. And some of our loved ones do hang around and hover and stay near to us, even though they have passed on, to kind of nudge us. We think it's our idea and our thoughts. No, it's sometimes our loved ones who are helping us. And then we have a panel discussion, Course in Miracles. Course in Miracles is a spiritual path. It's not a religion, and it's not for sissies. And that's a real consciousness changing course, spiritual path. We also have seminars and workshops. This is a past life regression. This can be very, very helpful for people if they're having problems in their current life and what happened in a past life and what are you dealing with now. That information and intelligence really helps. And Robert Blond, he is here at the fair this weekend. And he gives past life readings, but most of all, give a man a fish or you teach him to fish. This is where you will also be taught on how to do your own past life regression. I've done these before, very, very helpful. It really settled my anxiety and my stress, and I got it by understanding a past life and how it was affecting me this life. And a final one, your second brain, that's your psychicness. Yes, we do have a second brain, and it's kind of atrophied. But these types of, this is a 3-day seminar, remote viewing. This is your psychic development. It's amazing how much you know. If you just get quiet and you write it down, you know an amazing amount of information. So you don't have to get online or on television. You don't have to listen to policemen, popes, priests, presidents, politicians, or teachers in our schools. You got it right here between your ears, and the only reason you got it is to help you. That's its only purpose. I can't say the same for the other people we consult with, the politicians, presidents, police, right? Right? Okay. So this is what Paranormal Talks is about, is to help you, awaken you, so you understand that the paranormal is normal, the supernatural is natural, and it is all about us. It is all about us. So make the most of yourself. This is happening in Boulder. Please join us. Each one of these workshop seminars are discounted if you get the tuition tickets early. Otherwise, it's full price at the door. So these flyers are at booth number 267. Please join us there. And I just had my timer give me the high side, so we got to wrap it up here. So this is Paranormal Talks. Visit us on paranormaltalks.com. And I thank you so much for joining us. I will be at the booth if you want to chat more, because I love this stuff. Love it. So thank you so much for joining us.